Hello, good afternoon. I am Kristen Wiltshire. I am graduating this year with a Bachelor of Arts, majoring in Peace and Conflict Transformation. It has been said that since wars begin in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men that the defenses of peace must be constructed. This is indeed what Canadian Mennonite University aims to do through their Peace and Conflict Transformation program. One might ask what the defenses of peace are. In fact, we all might ask what peace is in today's world broken by sin, corruption, destruction, and war. These are the questions that my professors, my fellow students, and I have been wrestling with throughout the course of my degree. My first experience with CMU was through the out-of-town discipleship program. It was through the moments of this program, such as sitting in Indigenous sharing circles in Canada, witnessing a local rain dance in rural South Africa, and standing in the prison cells of activists Mahatma Gandhi and Nelson Mandela, where I was drawn to the concept that enveloped these experiences: the search for wholeness, justice, and peace. Through the Peace and Conflict Transformation program at CMU, I began to learn that peace, like these ageless rituals and lifelong journeys, is a process. It is a process that demands an understanding of one's own social location and an engagement with historical, cultural, and structural contexts. We have engaged with the histories of countries around the world through this program, including those who have experienced apartheid, genocide, dictatorship, and the creative nonviolent movements that have led to peace for many. Perhaps most significantly, we have engaged in the honest learning of the history of our own country, Canada. In the learning of colonization and the residential school system, I have begun to understand that conflict is a deep and complicated matter for which we need to learn about with humble and open minds. I have learned that a process of peace begins, for many of us, with the unveiling of historical truth that requires us to listen. Peace and conflict transformation studies has allowed us to study culture and to open our minds to the worldviews and philosophies of others. We have learned deeply about reconciliation through the healing practices of many traditional cultures. This has taught me that peace often requires getting to the root of who we are as people and the values and needs we have as a global community. Through an engagement with First Nations elders, my worldview has shifted regarding what we are searching for in this quest for peace. I have come to understand that all of humanity is connected interdependently, and that our relationships to each other, to the land, and to the Creator need healing before we can experience the fullness of shalom. Through CMU, I have had the opportunity to do my practicum overseas in a rural village in Uganda. It was being in a distinctly different culture that showed me the amount of growing that I have done in my time at CMU. CMU has taught me cultural competency and the importance of listening and embracing a different worldview and way of life. My community in Uganda expected that a visitor from Canada would arrive and tell them what they needed to do to change about their lives. At the end of my time, they thanked me for being a learner and a listener, a family member. To me, the building of right and respectful relationships is the building of peace. In our learning, we have analyzed the structures and systems of our societies. It has been in this learning that I have come to see evidence of conflict in our world that leads to the injustice present in some of the lives of the most vulnerable people in our societies. My CMU career has existed side by side with working at Salome Mission, an emergency shelter and drop-in center in Winnipeg. My education has been crucial in informing me of the cycles of poverty and the psychological role of trauma in the lives of those living who have been victims of conflict. I am thankful for this learning, as it has broken some of my own stereotypes, and it has informed me of the sometimes unspoken realities faced by those experiencing poverty. Peace requires a shift in our perceptions. It requires a transformation of the structures that we have built in our societies that lead to and perpetuate cycles of violence and injustice. I am overwhelmingly thankful for a Christian institution that reveals its integrity and determination to be God's active agents of peace and justice in this world. I would like to say thank you to our teachers for their courage, honesty, creativity, and love for both their students and the global community. Thank you, CMU, for restoring our faith in Christian discipleship, community, and inclusion. I would also like to say thank you to my family for joining me in my learning journey. How interesting it has been at times. Martin Luther King Jr. stated the following, which I believe reveals much of the result of CMU's work in the areas of peace and justice through education and activism. The nonviolent approach does not immediately change the heart of the oppressor. It first does something to the hearts and souls of those committed to it. It gives them a new self-respect. It calls up resources of strength and courage that they did not know they had. Finally, it reaches the opponent and so stirs their conscience that reconciliation becomes a reality. If the opponents of peace in this world are the structures and systems that perpetuate violence and ignorance, the study of peace and conflict transformation is perhaps one of the greatest defenses for peace and a great hope for justice in this world. Thank you.